Okay, so the biggest celebrity drama of January 2026 isn't happening at award shows or on red carpets. It's happening in mom group text messages and Instagram stories. And it involves some of your favorite Disney Channel stars from the 2000s having a full-blown public feud. I'm talking Ashley Tisdale versus Hilary Duff, Mandy Moore, and Meghan Trainor. And it all started with one essay that has absolutely blown up the internet. Let me tell you this entire messy story because it's got everything. Passive aggression, husband involvement, cryptic social media posts, and allegations of mean girl behavior. So here's what happened. On January 1, 2026, The Cut published a personal essay written by Ashley Tisdale. Well, technically it was written by Ashley French, which is her married name, but we all know her as Ashley Tisdale from High School Musical. The essay is titled Breaking Up with My Toxic Mom Group. And in it Ashley talks about how she joined this mom group after having her first daughter Jupiter during the pandemic. At first everything was great. She felt like she found her village. These were other moms who were going through the same things she was. They had group chats, they had playdates, the kids hung out together. It seemed perfect. But then Ashley says things started to change. She started noticing that she wasn't being invited to certain hangouts. She'd see photos on Instagram of the other moms all together at dinners or parties and she wasn't there. And nobody had invited her. She'd ask about it and get vague excuses. She started feeling like she was being frozen out. And the more it happened, the more she realized she was experiencing the exact same feelings she had in high school when she was being excluded by the popular girls. She wrote here, I was sitting alone one night after getting my daughter to bed thinking maybe I'm not cool enough. All of a sudden I was in high school again. Eventually Ashley decided she'd had enough. She sent a group text to all the moms saying this is too high school for me and I don't want to take part in it anymore. And she left the group. She walked away from these friendships because she felt like they had become toxic. In her essay she talks about how hard that decision was but also how necessary it was for her mental health and to set a good example for her daughters. She wanted to show them that when people make you feel bad you're allowed to walk away. You don't have to stay in relationships that hurt you. Now Ashley was smart enough to not name any names in the essay. She didn't explicitly say who these moms were. She even warned people not to try to figure it out, saying whatever you think is true isn't even close. But here's the thing. The internet is really good at detective work. And it didn't take long for people to start connecting the dots. Because there are photos all over Instagram of Ashley hanging out with a very specific group of celebrity moms. Hilary Duff, Mandy Moore, Meghan Trainor, and some other women. They've been photographed together at birthday parties, dinners, casual hangouts. And the timeline of those photos matches up perfectly with when Ashley says she was part of this mom group. So even though Ashley didn't name names, everyone immediately assumed she was talking about Hilary, Mandy, and Meghan. And honestly, it's pretty obvious. Like if you look at Ashley's Instagram from 2023 and 2024, she's constantly with these women. And then suddenly in late 2024 and into 2025 there are no more photos with them. She's hanging out with different people. The shift is noticeable. So when she writes an essay about being excluded from a mom group that she used to be really close with, it's not hard to figure out who she's talking about. Ashley's representatives tried to do damage control. They released a statement to TMZ saying that the essay is not about Hilary Duff, Mandy Moore, or Meghan Trainor. And that it's unfortunate people are making those assumptions. They also said there's no political subtext to the story, which is interesting because that suggests people were speculating that politics might have been part of the reason for the falling out. But the rep denied all of that. Said people are reading into things that aren't there. But here's where it gets really messy. Because even if Ashley's rep is denying it, the people allegedly involved in this drama are responding in ways that make it pretty clear they know she's talking about them. Let's start with Hilary Duff's husband Matthew Coma. This man woke up and chose violence. The day after Ashley's essay came out, Matthew posted to his Instagram stories. He took the photo of Ashley that the cut used for the essay. You know, the one where she's sitting on a white couch in all black looking very serious and contemplative. And he photoshopped his own face onto her body. Then he added the cut's logo and created a fake headline that read, "When you're the most self-obsessed tone-deaf person on earth, other moms tend to shift focus to their actual toddlers." With a subheadline that said, "A mom group tell all through a father's eyes." And he captioned it, "Read my new interview with the cut." It was savage. It was brutal. And it was clearly aimed directly at Ashley. He was basically calling her self-obsessed and tone-deaf and implying that she got excluded because she was making everything about herself instead of focusing on being a good mom. Now Matthew is not just some random guy. He's a successful musician. He's in the band Winnetka Bowling League. And he's very active on social media. He's known for being kind of snarky and not holding back his opinions. So this response was very on brand for him. But it also confirmed what everyone was already thinking. If Matthew is responding this aggressively, then Ashley's essay was definitely about his wife's friend group. You don't go that hard unless you feel personally attacked. After Matthew posted that, Mandy Moore jumped into the comments of one of his other Instagram posts. He had posted about her song Candy and Mandy replied, "Love you." Which might seem innocent, but the timing was very deliberate. She was showing public support for Matthew right after he dragged Ashley. That's not a coincidence. That's Mandy making it clear whose side she's on in this drama. Then there's Meghan Trainor, who had her own response. She posted a TikTok showing herself sitting at her computer looking shocked and frantically typing while drinking tea. The text overlay said, "Me finding out about the apparent mom group drama." And she sent it to her new song Still Don't Care and captioned the video with tea emojis and the hashtag Still Don't Care. So she's playing it off like she's unbothered and doesn't care about the drama, but she clearly cares enough to make a TikTok about it. That's very much caring. And here's a really interesting detail. Hilary Duff's sister Hilary Duff liked Ashley's Instagram post about the essay. The one where Ashley and the cut posted the article with the caption, "Leave your toxic friends behind you in 2026. Haley liked that post. Which is significant because there have been rumors for years that Haley and Hilary are estranged. They don't talk. They're not close anymore. So for Haley to publicly like a post that's dragging her sister's friend group is very telling. It suggests there might be family drama happening too, and Haley is Team Ashley. The internet absolutely exploded over all of this. People took sides immediately. Some people said Ashley had every right to call out toxic behavior and that if the other moms were excluding her and being mean, they deserved to be exposed. Other people said Ashley was being dramatic and that friendships naturally fade sometimes and that doesn't make people toxic. Some people pointed out that Ashley has a history of being outspoken about controversial topics, and maybe that's why the other moms distanced themselves from her. Because here's another layer to this. There's speculation that politics might have played a role in the falling out. Ashley has made some public statements about political issues that didn't go over well with certain groups. After a violent incident involving a conservative activist, Ashley posted about how violence is never the answer even when you disagree with someone. Some people interpreted that as her defending the conservative activist, and that rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. If Hilary, Mandy, and Meghan are more progressive and Ashley made comments they saw as problematic that could have created tension. But again, this is all speculation. None of the women have confirmed that politics had anything to do with it. Ashley's rep specifically denied that angle. But when you're trying to figure out why a group of friends suddenly falls apart, you have to look at what changed. And if Ashley made public statements that the other women disagreed with, that's a pretty obvious source of conflict. There's also just the reality that celebrity friendships are complicated. When you're all famous and all trying to maintain your public image and all worried about how things look on social media, it adds a layer of stress to relationships. Maybe Ashley felt like she was being judged for her parenting choices. Maybe the other moms felt like Ashley was too focused on her brand and her businesses. Maybe there were jealousies or competitions that nobody wants to admit to. We don't know. We probably never will know the full truth. What we do know is that this essay has completely dominated the conversation. It's all anyone is talking about in the mom influencer space. Mom talk is going crazy over it. Parenting blogs are writing think pieces. Everyone has an opinion about whether Ashley was right to write the essay or whether she should have just quietly moved on. Some people are praising her for being vulnerable and honest. Other people are criticizing her for airing private drama publicly and potentially hurting people she used to call friends. Ashley did address this in her essay. She said she debated whether to write about it but ultimately decided it was important because she wanted other moms to know they're not alone. She said so many mothers have reached out to her saying they've experienced similar situations with mom groups that turned toxic. And she felt like by sharing her story she could help other women feel less alone and give them permission to walk away from friendships that aren't serving them. That's a noble intention. But there's also no denying that writing a public essay in a major publication about your former friends is going to cause drama. Especially when those former friends are also famous and have their own platforms and fan bases. Ashley had to know that by publishing this essay she was opening herself up to backlash and criticism. And she did it anyway. So either she really felt strongly about speaking out or she wanted the attention and publicity. Or both. The timing is also interesting because Ashley just launched a lifestyle brand called French. It's a blog and a body care line. And this essay is driving a ton of traffic to her brand. People are reading the essay, then going to her website to read more of her writing, then checking out her products. So from a business perspective this controversy is probably good for her. Controversy sells. People are interested in her now in a way they weren't before. Whether that translates to actual support or just hate watching remains to be seen. For Hilary, Mandy, and Megan this whole thing is probably frustrating. They're being dragged into drama that they didn't ask for. They're being accused of being mean girls and toxic friends without even being named directly, so they can't really defend themselves without confirming. They're the ones being talked about. Matthew's Instagram story was the closest thing to a direct response, and even that was framed as satire. Mandy's "love you" comment was subtle. Megan's TikTok was vague. None of them have come out and said, yes, this is about us, and here's our side of the story. Maybe they never will. Maybe their strategy is to just let it blow over and not give it more oxygen. But that's risky because silence can be interpreted as guilt. If they don't defend themselves, people might assume Ashley is telling the truth and they really were being mean to her. On the other hand, if they do respond publicly, it turns into a full-blown feud, and that's messy and nobody wins. So they're kind of stuck. This whole situation really highlights how complicated female friendships can be, especially when you add fame and social media and kids into the mix. Mom friendships are hard enough without all the extra pressure. You're trying to connect with other women who are going through the same things you are, but you're also exhausted and hormonal and stressed. And if you're doing it all in the public eye with millions of followers watching your every move, that makes it even harder. Ashley talks about this in her essay. She says the emotional echoes between high school and being a new mom are real. The uncertainty, the vulnerability, the hormones, the feeling of not being good enough. All of that comes rushing back when you're navigating new motherhood. And when you think you've found your people and then they start excluding you, it hits different than regular friendship drama. It feels personal and painful in a way that brings up all your old insecurities. The question is, was Ashley actually being excluded, or did she just feel that way? Because sometimes perception is reality, but sometimes our own insecurities make us see things that aren't there. If the other moms were genuinely being mean and deliberately leaving her out, then yeah, that's toxic and Ashley was right to walk away. But if it was more like natural drift where some people in the group got closer and Ashley ended up on the outside through no one's fault, then maybe toxic is too strong a word. We'll probably never know the objective truth. Everyone has their own version of events. Ashley feels like she was treated badly. The other moms probably feel like they didn't do anything wrong. And both of those things can be true at the same time. Relationships are complicated. Especially when there's a whole group of people involved with different personalities and communication styles and expectations. What's clear is that this story has struck a nerve. Thousands of women have commented saying they've been through similar situations. They've joined mom groups that seemed great at first but then turned cliquey or judgmental or exclusive. They've felt like they weren't good enough or cool enough to be part of the group. They've experienced that specific pain of seeing everyone else hanging out without you on social media. So even if the specifics of Ashley's story are messy and unclear, the broader theme is something a lot of people relate to. And that's probably why this essay went so viral. It's not just about celebrity drama. It's about a universal experience that happens to regular people every day. The difference is when it happens to celebrities, we all get to watch it play out in real time on Instagram and TikTok and in essays published in major magazines. We get the entertainment value of watching famous people fight while also seeing ourselves in their struggles. So where does this go from here? Will Ashley and Hilary and Mandy and Meghan ever reconcile? Probably not. Once you write a public essay calling someone's friend group toxic, it's pretty hard to come back from that. Will they address it more directly? Maybe. If the pressure keeps building, one of them might decide to give their side of the story. Will this affect their careers? Probably not significantly. They're all successful in their own right, and this is more personal drama than professional scandal. But it'll be interesting to see how this plays out over the next few weeks and months. Will there be more responses? Will new information come out? Will other people who were part of the group speak up? Time will tell. For now, the internet is divided. Team Ashley versus Team Hilary, Mandy and Meghan. And everyone has an opinion. So drop a comment and tell me what you think. Is Ashley brave for speaking out, or did she take it too far by writing a public essay? Are the other moms toxic mean girls, or did Ashley misinterpret natural friendship drift? And have you ever been in a mom group or friend group that turned toxic? Let me know your experiences. And hit subscribe because we'll definitely be following this drama as it continues to unfold. This is the kind of messy celebrity feud that's going to have people talking for months. See you in the next video.